This one is for the old-school Counterstrike fans. Have you ever wondered why hostages are so much taller than you in Counterstrike 1.6? And why so many of the classic maps seem to be smaller in Source and CSGO compared to 1.6? And even if you never wondered about that, let us find out why Counterstrike is about 17% too small, or too big, depending on the way you look at it. Let's establish the basics. In Counterstrike, everyone has the same size. Now, your actual player model may be a bit shorter or taller, that doesn't really matter. The space you take up in the game world is defined by the axis-oriented bounding box. Significant for getting shot at is the hitbox, defining areas where shots fired at you register as damage. The aforementioned bounding box specifies, for example, how high a doorway needs to be in order for you to walk through it without bumping your head into it. Alright, that should do it. Let's see how it looks in-game. See, that's why keeping scaling in mind is important when creating levels. In the matter of what you see, the so-called camera height is important. This is an invisible point set by the developer that serves as the player's point of view, meaning the actual location of the eyes on your player model is really irrelevant. You see from where the camera point is set at. I think everyone could follow me to this point, because that's important for what comes next. In Half-Life and many games based on it, the height of the player camera, the point of view, is 64 hammer units above the ground. A unit is the smallest grid size in the hammer editor, the tool used to work on Gold Source and Source games. In Half-Life and later Half-Life 2, everything is seen from 64 units above the ground, and that's the case for many games derived of it. But for some odd reason, that not even the creators of Counter-Strike seem to be sure about, we asked, they decided that in Counter-Strike the height of the player camera is supposed to be 53 instead of 64. Other parameters remained the same as in Half-Life, just the position of your eyes was for some odd reason lowered at some point. Meaning you see the entire world as someone with their eyes stuck in their mouth. About 17% lower as a guy in Half-Life. Here is a great comparison. We boot into the very same map in Half-Life and Counter-Strike. Looking at the same model, the difference becomes clear. Things get even sillier when we compare Counter-Strike player models to hostages. These were of course just reused scientists from Half-Life. One could say, in Counter-Strike, everyone is a short king. Unless of course you are playing Counter-Strike Condition 0 deleted scenes. There everything is in reverse. They use the tiny Counter-Strike player models, but the player himself is Half-Life height. So yeah, in deleted scenes you are the tallest guy around. And talking about weird heights, when crouching down, things get even stranger. But I won't go into too much detail on that now. I just want to note that the collision model goes down way deeper than the model actually is, and you start clipping through walls like crazy. And if the model was actually as low as the collision model, it would look something like this. Meta experts in the field refer to this as cursed. And with all that knowledge, we arrive at why so many maps just feel like they are a bit too big or too small, or just have the dimensions off in general. When you work on a map for the old Counter-Strike 1.6, the default settings are oriented on Half-Life. When compiling and executing a map, Hammer opens the map in Half-Life, not Counter-Strike unless you changed that. And I speculate that many map creators back in the day did basic testing of their maps in Half-Life. And that is fine for most purposes. They will also use prefabs, entities and player spawns that are based upon the Half-Life entities. Long story short, they are placing down a pre-made couch that is about 17% too big for them. And here comes another factor of which I think it sneakily messed up the scaling on many early maps. Originally, the very first versions of Counter-Strike used the Half-Life player camera height of 64 units. And suddenly, without mentioning it in the patch notes, Beta 5.0 changed the camera height to 53. And that is the camera height on the original Counter-Strike till this very day. I think all this led to early Counter-Strike maps being a bit off scale. Over time, map makers of course wised up to this, and the scaling became better. They adapted. But when Counterstrike Source rolled around, everything changed. They didn't carry over the odd camera height and went back to the original 64 units. So when people started porting their old Counter-Strike 1.6 maps to Source, suddenly everything seemed way smaller. The boys got bigger. One could say the game grew with its fans. Look at these crates on Nuke. These crates didn't get smaller, they are the exact same size as in Counter-Strike 1.6. The player camera position just rose up a few units. Until this very day, due to this height issue, some Counter-Strike maps feel off scale, or at least departed from the original map designer's vision. The creators of Classic Offensive created a test build of their mod that re-implements the old Counter-Strike 1.6 camera height. So let's have a look at how Counter-Strike Global Offensive maps look with the 1.6 camera height. And suddenly, the lines of sight are completely broken. When we boot into a CSGO portation of an old version of Dust 2, everything is way too small. But with the modified build of Classic Offensive, we are on scale again. This camera height issue caused many things in old Counter-Strike to be scaled incorrectly, often unintentionally by the creators, and that carries over till this very day. Who didn't love the old oversized vending machines? I just find it really funny that the creators don't even remember why they did it. And Gooseman is a funny guy, he made me laugh here. Props to him for actually responding to so many people asking him stuff. Great guy. And in the end, a special thanks to the Classic Offensive crew for giving me access to their test build. And also thanks to iMentrix for animating the little door bonk for me. And as if that wasn't enough thanking yet, a big thank you to all the lovely supporters on Patreon, who of course got to see this video way before anyone else. Our wonderful supporters are Lone Wolf, Zat Gladys, Wrapped in Glass, Cookie, AX98, Thito, Rival556, Plasma, Tome, Rainbow Flash, Grizzlyvia, Strange Module, Copfighter, Inter, Charles Surrett, Sir K, Ram Gilama, Zane, Whiskey, Christoph, MTD, Leggyboy, Daniel, Freylem, CronyXS, TheOVO and Grayling too. Thank you for your support, and to you and everyone else, thanks for watching. And since so few people actually stayed till the end of the video, here's a little post-credits bonus for you, a little teaser. We are going to release a never-before-seen Counter-Strike map that was cut from Condition Zero very soon. Though I guess Patreons and regular guests on the Discord server have seen it already. Take the hint, join the Discord. So, see you guys next time. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.